The Galactic Empire is one of the most powerful entities to ever lay claim to the galaxy. Although they're often portrayed as the ominous bad guys to be beaten by our heroes in almost every single comic, series and film, it's never really abundantly clear what the Empire wants. What's their endgame? Its ideology. So in this video, we're going to be delving into this fascist regime and look into what's the purpose of the Galactic Empire. Now, there's lots of theories on why the Empire exists and its motives. Is it to stop the Yuzong Vong, strengthen the people of the galaxy, or was it just Sidious's elaborate hoax to empower himself? In this video, however, we're going to be looking a bit more away from Palpatine. Although he was the founder and undisputed leader of the Empire, he is not an ideology. He is a champion of the regime, a hero to some and a monster to others. No, we want to be looking at the Empire in a single entity, and try to work out just what this galactic superpower is all about. Now, the Empire is a fascist government, and fascist governments are kind of a mix of an autocracy and a totalitarianism state. So the word fascist actually comes from the Roman word fascis, if that's how you pronounce it, which refers to a group of sticks that are tied together. It's the idea that breaking one stick is easy, but breaking a bunch of sticks all tied together, facing the same direction following one strong leader, can not be broken, which is a very nice way of thinking about monstrous regimes. Now, a fascist state is ruled by one political party, and the head of that party is the dictator, or emperor in our case. Although Palpatine did give the illusion of free government, this was obviously not the case. The Senate was made as a puppet, and anybody who did not agree with imperial rhetoric was quickly gotten rid of. Now, how does this all link into the Empire's ideology? Well, we need to look at the characteristics of a fascist state. And to do this, we're going to use Rob Bogert's 14 characteristics. Sorry if I did just butcher the name there, by the way. So, firstly, we have a cult of tradition and rejection of modernism. And this is difficult to find in Star Wars as the universe is very big, and they keep changing the canon. Now, Palpatine had the problem that he had to make his own tradition regarding the regime. However, he did take some aspects of older sources. Look at the Imperial emblem, for example. It's very similar to that of the Republic. Something that is known to people. Now, it's slightly different, but it's still traditional. The Empire wanted to cement its place in the galaxy. The people would follow Imperial traditions, meaning that they would never change, and the Empire would stay in power. After a while, tradition just becomes autonomous, meaning that so does the Empire's rule. Then we have a fear of difference and the idea that disagreement is treason. Now, we know that the Empire, like most fascist states, is quick to weed out anybody who disagreed with Palpatine's new order. We also need to look at how the Empire viewed all of this. In the military, disagreeing with your commander would get you shot. If anyone showed disagreement to the Empire, then they were arrested. It's essentially the idea that if one of those sticks isn't facing the same way, it'll get snapped and weaken the bunch. Now, we don't have to look far to find fear of difference in the Empire. It was very anti-alien. And why? Because they were different. The Empire used the Clone Wars as an excuse to strip aliens of their rights over time, because they were different. Different cultures, different beliefs, not to mention different species, make things harder to control. Much harder. With humans, the Empire had a pretty easy time controlling them. There was a lot of them spread across the galaxy, and there was no other single belief or culture that was adhered to. So if Palpatine could come in and take over that one tradition, that one culture that all humans adhered to, he would benefit from it. The Empire would be a thing that unified the entire species together. Now, there are many more aspects that I'm just going to breeze over, such as obsession with a plot. This could be the weak politicians and the Jedi's supposed coup. Fascist states are also supposed to appeal to social frustration, and this is the entire purpose of the Clone Wars, and the much suffering that came with it. There's also the concept that the enemy is both strong and weak. The Empire was always warning people about the rebellion and how it was dangerous, but always made sure people knew that it could be beaten by the Empire. Therefore, furthering people's trust and reliance on the state. Now, there are some others that I'm not going to go into for time's sake, but do definitely look up this paper. It's called Eurofascism by Rob Bogert. Again, don't know if I'm butchering the name there. Instead, I'm going to be focusing on two other main factors that I think are very, very important to the Empire, and that is raising individuals to be heroes and action for action's sake. So admittedly, when you think about the Empire and most real-world fascist regimes, you think about the military, its parades, fleets of ships, highly decorated moths and generals. And that's the point. If we use Hofstede's cultural theory, which is used in the real world to understand countries' culture, it would be described as a highly masculine culture, which means it highly values the ideas of achievement and success. Essentially, in order to be successful in the Empire, you want to be a hero, you want recognition, and no one in the Empire is celebrated like those in its military. And this is one of the reasons why Imperial citizens are so loyal, because they've been educated to believe that being a hero of the Empire, falling defending it, is the greatest honor one can achieve. You can either be part of the weak enemy, or possibly live and die a hero who will be celebrated by adoring crowds. And this is one of the reasons why, as another one of the points is, action is always necessary. Action for action's sake is a key driver in the Empire. They brutally subjugate worlds because they can. They build up huge militaries because they can. Think about it, was the Death Star necessary? Of course not. The Imperial fleet could decimate a city in minutes. Being able to destroy a planet was completely pointless. But they did it anyway, because they could. It's essentially the need to keep moving, to keep making progress, or at least seem like you're making progress. Because without progress, things get monotonous. People become bored, and they begin to cause problems, to question things, and this is against the order the Empire represents. So the Empire does essentially want safety, wealth, and power, and this is what every government wants. The difference about the Empire is that they have a very aggressive way of doing so. They believe that order and tradition are the way to do this, where people will never speak out of turn, because why would they? Every person has the same unified goal, and anyone who doesn't will either be killed or assimilated to have that goal. The Empire needs to constantly expand because everything outside of its regime is a threat. It's a very strange form of united xenophobia, I suppose. Everything else is wrong and it needs to be removed. Ultimately, the Empire's goals are not wrong. It is trying to create a safe, prosperous, and strong galaxy where people can flourish. However, how it's planning to achieve this is wrong. It, in effect, doesn't value its people. Everything is seen as for the greater good. People can't say what they want, because if they do, it could potentially cause problems and hurt the galaxy. Alien species are treated poorly and even enslaved in some cases. The Empire viewed them as a danger to the others in the galaxy because of their inherent beliefs or history. They would better serve the galaxy as forced labor, keeping the Empire safe or wealthy. People are expected to die fighting pointless wars for no real gain to the Empire. So the Empire says that they were heroes, and they achieved a great honor falling in combat, effectively saving the people of the galaxy. And this is where the Empire fails. The idea that all these sticks are going to be facing in the same direction is just plain wrong. There's always going to be some form of resistance, either from outside the Empire or from within it itself. The real danger in these regimes is that they do actually work for a few people. There was many humans who would have loved living under the Empire. They were at peace, there was order, there was relative economic prosperity. The problems that came with it didn't really affect them because why would they? At the end of the day, their freedom of speech and differentiation wasn't worth sacrificing all that they gained. And when you think about it, this is the entire purpose of the First Order. Remember when we said that fascist states have a focus on tradition? That's a huge part of the First Order's regime. They want to go back to an older time where they were respected and thrived, even if it was at the expense of countless others. The New Republic may have ensured peace, but it wasn't as good as these people would have had it under the Empire. There wasn't a sense of superiority or importance just because they were humans, and there was less chance of them ever being known as a hero on one of the many battlefields of the Empire, and that's what people do want. It's easy for them to romanticize the idea of dying in combat, because to them that seems glorious. And when you combine that with the strong propaganda machine of the Empire or the First Order, and strong leaders such as Thrawn or Tarkin or Snoke, then it really does appeal to these people. But what do you guys think of the Empire's ideology? Do you think this video is correct or not? And what do you believe about the Empire's ideology? Would it have succeeded more if it was more inclusive of others? Or maybe been more liberal with its citizens' rights? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I do hope that you enjoyed this longer video. I know it's not what we normally do, but I fancied a little bit of a change. If you did enjoy, please do remember to like, share and sub, as it is really appreciated and it helps the channel grow. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at @TheLawGuy and tick the bell for regular updates. Thanks again for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.